What is going on, everybody? Once again, welcome to the channel. Pay yourself back. I'm your host, C. Los, guys. And here it's always about having a good time, enjoying life, being mentally aware and spiritually well. And as you can see and hear, it is not such a great day here in South Florida today, guys. As you guys know, we are experiencing a hurricane. Well, actually not where I'm at, guys. I believe today is Thursday, and I believe that the hurricane is pretty much, well, it's a made landfall. It's a hit land already. And where I'm at, guys, here in Port St. Lucie, I'm on the southeast side of Florida. And as you may or may not know, the hurricane hit, the hurricane hit the southwest side of Florida. And guys, listen, this is just the remnants of the hurricane. It's still in the state of Florida. Well, today's Thursday, and I'm telling you, I hope you guys can hear me, but I purposely came out here so you guys could just see the magnitude of just the outer bands of wind and rain. I think we're pretty much past the rain part. It's just a lot of wind today. But again, like I say, I'm on the southeast side of Florida, more closer, you know, it's like the west coast side, you're closer to the Gulf of Mexico. The east coast side, you're closer to, you know, North Carolina, South Carolina, places like that, or the east. And so, you know, guys, I'm really not in harm's way. I know the wind has got to be at least, it's got to be about 50, 60 mile per hour winds here, guys. Right now, I'm at the Jensen Beach causeway. And so I just wanted to come out. You know, you guys know I do stuff like this back when I was a little bit further down south, when I was living down there in Jensen Beach during Hurricane Dorian, which bypassed Florida. And it unfortunately hit the Bahamas pretty bad. But I just wanted to come out and kind of show you guys out here. Again, Hutchinson Island is over there on that side right here. I'm in Jensen Beach, the Jensen Beach Causeway, a little area here that I really like. But look at how the water is. I mean, yesterday, Wednesday, it rained. And it wasn't as much wind as it is today, but yesterday the rain, it flooded. This will be the second hurricane that I've encountered since I've been living here in Florida the last 4.5, almost 5 years. But it's just crazy. You know, in my neighborhood, I mean, the amounts of rain that we got, I mean, it was just crazy. It literally flooded like the front of my house. Well, check this out, guys. Now, these are just some of the things that you have to be aware of if you plan on moving to Florida, guys. I know you asked me questions. Some of you guys leave me comments and ask me questions about how is it in Florida, you know, things like that. I can't wait to move to Florida. Well, this is one of the things that, you know, you're going to encounter it. You know, unfortunately, for the other side of the west coast side of Florida, Fort Myers and Tampa and places like that, Sarasota, you know, they got hit pretty bad. But fortunately here on this side, on the southeast side, you know, this is all we're getting is just the wind and some rain. Now that I have the house and I'm not living in an apartment, you know, anymore, it's just some things that I know that I got to do to fortify my house. Now my house is a brand new house, and so it's built pretty sturdy, you know, cinder block house. Trusses are like, I mean, they're double notched, whatever the term that my construction manager used. He say this house is built like Fort Knox. But that's one thing. If you ever get hit and you talk to anybody that's been living here in Florida and been through a hurricane before, you already know It's not so much the hurricane, it's power goes off, you got no food, you know, stuff like that. So I'm gonna make sure I get me a generator, and a generator with the large enough capacity that can power the necessities at my house. Now, I got to hire electrician and stuff like that, have him come out and, you know, do his thing, but that's no problem. So that's one. And the thing of it is, they said, and I've been tracking the news and everything, and they had talked about the surges of water that are like 8 and 9 feet high. No matter what kind of house you have, you know, going to get in your house. I mean, I've been watching the news, and it's just like, it's just crazy. I mean, the amount of water. You know, we're basically, Florida is basically an island. I mean, we're surrounded by water on both sides, you know. And like I say, I want to say, how far is Tampa and Sarasota from me? I don't know, maybe 150 miles or so, something like that. And, you know, I think when it touched down over there, it was a category 4, I want to say. Category 1 being the lowest, 5 being the highest. So you can imagine a 4. And again, 150 miles away on the other side of Florida, this is what we're getting. And I think it's supposed to go up north. We're not going to, or I think it may be around Orlando right about now or somewhere, getting ready to hit that way. But it's slowly fizzling out the further north that it goes. But that initial hit, when it came in on the west coast side down by Fort Myers, that initial hit coming off of that water is crazy. 150 mile an hour wind. Can you imagine? Like I say, it's about 50 mile or 60 mile an hour wind right now. 150 mile an hour wind, can you imagine what it's like? You couldn't stand outside like this. This is like 60 mile an hour wind, and I'm like, you see how it's blowing me, right? Could you imagine 150 mile an hour wind? I can't even imagine it. But anyway, the thing of it is, what I learned, and this is life, and people who are Floridians will tell you all the time. I saw an interview with the news were interviewing this lady, and she was like, the news person said something like, well, what would you tell people? And she said, don't panic. Makes a lot of sense. You want to try to keep a cool head, because when you panic, you sometimes make mistakes that could cost you. So I guess the best thing to do, which is a hard thing to do, is not to panic. Keep a level head, keep a cool head, figure out what you need to do. But, you know, be prepared. You go in the stores and everything, and you see that, yeah, man, the shelves are empty. Water, all that stuff. That's why they be putting limits on this stuff, you know, guys. But yeah, it's just crazy. It's crazy. And you know, don't think that just because, and this is what I have learned, don't think just because you're like 150, 200 miles away that you're not going to experience or get anything, because you will get some remnants of that hurricane. The tornadoes that came associated with the hurricane ripped the tops of buildings off. And I saw this on the news. Like I say, I would never associate a tornado with a hurricane, but it's true. And Home Depot, man, y'all secure y'all barbecue grills. You know, you seen Home Depot had grills. They had you know how they have, like, you go to Lowe's and Home Depot, they have like the barbecue grills and stuff outside. They had grills all over the parking lot and stuff. I mean, just carts, shopping carts, it's just crazy. It's a hot mess. But anyway, everything is good, guys. I think by Friday, tomorrow and Saturday, I think it'll pretty much be done. You know, it'll be over with. But when I did that video on Hurricane Dorian in 2019, you know, it was, again, it was over in the Bahamas, you know, and not that direction. And the most we got here in Florida was just a little bit of you know, a little bit of rain. They call them tropical rain, tropical storm like that, but it was nothing near what it is right here, what we're experiencing right here. I can just imagine the people over there in the Tampa area and Fort Myers. It's sad and unfortunate. I haven't heard of any loss of life. I hadn't heard anything, but I'm gonna continue watching the news. But hopefully no one lost their life, but there's a lot of damage. Again, moving to Florida, something to think about. Something really to think about, because I've been here, like I say, almost 5 years. 2 hurricanes. One, we had no impact. It bypassed us. The second one, which we're going through right now, it had a direct impact, Category 4 hurricane. Ain't no joke, nothing to play with. Be mindful of that. But anyway, I'm just out and about right now, and I hope everybody is doing well. I like to keep you guys updated on what's going on here in Florida. You know, I know my channel I do a little bit of everything on my channel, but this is just one of the things that I like doing, especially when it's a hurricane. I don't like being out there in it. If it hits, and I won't do that. But if it's something just like, you know, something like this, just a little wind and rain and stuff like that, I don't mind getting out and showing you guys. I mean, it's one thing to watch it on TV, you know, and on the news, CNN and stuff like that, but to actually hear it coming from somebody who's going through it in the state of Florida is another thing. It's an experience, or it's a situation that unless you are here, you know, you won't really understand it, and some people probably will take it for granted. But that's one good thing about the news outlets here, the news channels. When they tell you that it's going to come, you better take heed, because the news broadcast, the local news here in Florida broadcast when this hurricane is hitting. There's no excuse for you not knowing, because believe me, the news channels broadcast 24/7. It's not like they do one in the morning and then noon and then in the evening. No, they broadcast 24/7, and they're always keeping you up to date on what's going on. So you can't use the excuse, "Oh, I didn't know," because yeah. And also there are people, you know, Governor DeSantis, you know, he does this thing, declare a state of emergency for the state of Florida. They also said there are mandatory areas that you must evacuate. Some people chose to stay, and that's your choice. You can choose to stay if you want to. I mean, but they also reported that the first responders, you know, ambulance, fire, and police were not going to respond after a certain hour or after a certain time. So if you choose to stay and you're not evacuating, that's your choice. But just know, they were like, if you have emergency, we ain't coming. I mean, you got to think about it. They're putting their life at risk when you were already notified to leave. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. That's some people make those kind of choices. I don't know what I would do. I would probably leave, but I don't know. You know, they got shelters out there that you can go to for temporary, you know, if you need to. But yeah, guys, it's a trip. It's all part of living here. But anyway, I just like I say, I just wanted to bring you guys a little bit of information on Hurricane Ian. And hope you guys enjoy your week. Appreciate you tuning in to Pay Yourself Back. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, guys. And until next time, be well, my friend. CeeLos out, baby.